Hello, I'm Cody McNorton, and today I'd like to talk to you about the argument between paying student athletes and not paying them. Today, what we'll be going over is the power conferences and how they will affect the decision, the university administrative positions, the student athlete stance on this topic, as well as some court rulings and proposed stipend amounts, the conflicts of interest and integrity conflicts that might arise from this, as well as the media positions and my personal stance. Since the Power 5 conferences and major college sports will have a big role in this, let's find out who they are. First of all, we have the Big 12, which covers the central part of America and the teams that are there. The Big 10, which is primarily in the northern part of the country. The Pac-12, which is primarily on the west, and the ACC and the SEC that cover the East Coast. All of which will weigh heavily on the decision to whether the athletes should be paid or not. Now that we know what conferences we'll be covering, and we'll be weighing in on the decision, let's see what their administrators have to say. The university administrators' positions are very widely varied, some for and some against. The administrators that do have fighting this battle for paying players recognize that the amount of money that college athletics bring into their program, whether it be through ticket sales, player merchandise, or concessions, is an extremely large amount. Specifically, the SEC this year is projected to bring in approximately $759.9 million, and that's before the launch of their SEC program, television network program that will bring in an extreme amount more money. Most of these schools that do have a network like that will be able to pay their players without really seeing a dip in their revenue. They also have a fight to say that they want to keep their players happy and to keep attending their schools and be able to give out bigger scholarships. The administrators that are looking to fight against this proposition believe that they are student athletes and they are students first. They are already receiving large reductions in the price of the school, if not receiving full rides already, as opposed to students who aren't athletes and primarily don't receive scholarships and have to pay their own way through their school. They believe that paying the players puts them above the status of just a student and more of a professional athlete, and would reduce the importance of the schooling to them if they know that they are going to be paid anyway for their athletics. They also believe that they have the position to lose money by paying their players, which reduces the amount of money that they can put towards non-athletic scholarships or other student projects for their university. Now that we know how the administrators of these universities feel a little bit about the students and their positions, most, if not all, are for the being paid, primarily for the reduced amount of time due to their athletic obligations. It's hard for them to work between practice, studying their playbook, going to workouts, rehabbing injuries, and travel to sporting events. It takes out a day of their schooling on Fridays just to get to their game on Saturdays. Not just their athletics take away time from when they could work, their school does as well, between attending classes, studying for their classes, and it makes for a very long schedule. Another thing is that the athletes realize how much money that their sports and themselves bring into the school. Just with merchandise, ticket sales, and concessions, and their video game likeness with college video games. Speaking of the revenue from athletics, there have been court rulings and the amounts that they could be paid. At this time, no court decisions or rulings have been made. They're all still pending. It's a pretty long battle to try to figure out if they want to take away the amateur status of college athletes. The potential amounts that have been suggested and are rumored to be true are from $0 to $3,500 a year. The money would be proposed to help with students' food allowances, their personal clothing, and personal activities they'd like to do on their own time. In 2013, the Northwestern football program formed a union which would allow them to be able to negotiate their salaries if this ruling is approved. If athletes are able to negotiate their own salaries, it could create some conflicts of interest. Some of those conflicts could be the higher profile athletes being paid more money than their backups, which could create extreme jealousies or even make the lower paid athletes less likely to work as hard if they're feeling undervalued. Another thing it could lead to is favoritism between coaches, feeling that they need to play the players that are being paid more because of that reason, as well as potential kickbacks and incentives for better play, and which has been documented in the media recently and in previous years. The media has had a very heavy fight in this that's very widely contested. In the beginning, they were very against it. You know, student athletes are students first. They have amateur status. They are not to be paid. But recently, and in the last couple of years, as this argument has grown, and schools have began receiving much more money due to television rights and merchandise sales, they have changed their tune and are now currently in favor of it. In my personal opinion, I was a former college athlete, and I had to work for the money that I needed to pay for school, what was left over after my scholarships, as well as any personal expenses that I wanted to do on my own time. It wasn't easy, but it had to be done, or else I wouldn't have had money to eat or go out with my friends. I do believe that if I would have been paid, I would have tried less if I wasn't responsible for my education, my athletics, as well as my finances. I'm against paying college athletes. I think it can only breed negative culture in sports. I think if you want to be paid to play sports, you should work hard and make it to that next level. Today we spoke a little bit about the Power 5 conferences and their importance in this decision, the university and the student athlete positions, as well as any court rulings and the proposed amounts that they could be paid, and the conflict of interest and the media positions that could arise from this. If anyone has any questions, I can take them at this time.
Have players been paid in the past and gotten in trouble?
They have. The most notable one was in the mid-1970s and 80s. It was with Southern Methodist University. The players were being paid through a school fund, and it was known as Ponygate. The NCAA cracked down on them and handed down their death penalty, which took away all scholarships and reduced their season in 1988. Since then, from that time, the mid-80s, they only had one winning season in 20 years.
Players recently have been penalized too, though, right?
Yes. Recently, higher-profile athletes have received punishments, some up to 1-year ban from college athletics. Others have received less strict punishments equivalent to slaps on the wrist.
Do you think the players feel they can get away with it now?
Personally, I do feel that with the minor punishments that have been doled out recently, I do believe players have become more brazen in their actions, and if they are paid to play, it would make only their actions and their decisions worse because they're already receiving money and aren't as worried about the punishments. Thank you.